Elam and Madai were two powerful and ancient nations from the land of Iran, whose legacies and histories were deeply intertwined with the events of the ancient world. Among the most significant and emotional stories involving these nations is the confrontation between Abraham and the kings of the East, including the king of Elam, a leader of the mighty Persian Empire. This battle was not merely a conflict for power, but also a spiritual struggle between values, faith, and destiny. At the time, Persia was already a formidable force, dominating much of the Middle East. The Elamite kingdom, under its king, had become a superpower feared by many, known for its military strength, wealth, and influence. Yet, this story was more than just about the clash of kingdoms. It was a battle rooted in moral principles and unwavering faith. Abraham, chosen by God to be the patriarch of Israel, was not only faced with external enemies but also with deep internal struggles. When the kings of the East, including the king of Elam, allied against the surrounding lands, Abraham rose up, not just with military force, but with the strength of his faith. Abraham's victory was not just a military triumph, it was a spiritual victory that demonstrated how faith and perseverance could overcome even the greatest challenges. His purpose was not personal gain but to protect the moral and spiritual values that God had entrusted to him. This confrontation was a clash between worldly power, embodied by the Persian Empire, and divine strength, symbolized by Abraham's steadfast faith. Abraham's unwavering belief in God's guidance led him and his allies to victory over the Eastern kings, including the king of Elam. This battle exemplified the power of belief, loyalty to higher values, and the victory of good over evil. While Persia, under the leadership of Cyrus, was a force of judgment for Babylon, it also became a divine instrument of deliverance for Israel. In the prophecies of Isaiah and Jeremiah, Persia is portrayed as both a tool of God's punishment upon Babylon and an agent of liberation for the Jewish people. God used Persia in a miraculous way to fulfill his grand plan of both destruction and restoration. Even before his birth, God had appointed Cyrus, the king of Persia, as the one who would free the Jewish people and allow them to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. This was an extraordinary prophecy, an affirmation of God's infinite power to accomplish his will on earth, even through a foreign king who did not know him. Under Babylon's rule, the Israelites had endured years of suffering, living in exile, and losing everything. The destruction of their holy temple in Jerusalem left them in despair. Yet, in their darkest hour, God spoke through the prophets, sending a message of hope. He chose Cyrus, a foreign king, to overthrow Babylon, not just for the empire's sins, but also out of his love for Israel. God used Persia, with its military might and the leadership of Cyrus, to fulfill his promise to the Jewish people. This was a paradox. A king who did not know God was used as God's instrument to bring salvation to Israel. But this is the mystery of God's plan, where human strength and power cannot compare to his divine will. Cyrus's role in the restoration of Israel was a testament to God's mercy and power. He allowed the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple, fulfilling God's promise. This event was not just a historical moment, but a sign of God's care for his people. Cyrus, by granting the Jewish people freedom, was fulfilling God's word, and his actions showed how God used a mighty empire like Persia to execute justice while demonstrating his deep love for Israel. The story of Persia, particularly under such leadership, is a powerful reminder of the balance between justice and mercy, punishment and salvation. While Persia served as God's instrument of judgment upon Babylon, it also became the vessel of hope for Israel. When the Jewish people returned to Jerusalem, they not only rebuilt their temple, but also renewed their faith in God's promises. This story is not just a historical event, but a living testament to God's ability to use even the most unexpected instruments for his divine plan of redemption. In this way, Persia, as portrayed in the prophecies of Isaiah and Jeremiah, emerges as a key player in God's plan. It stands as both a powerful empire and a divine instrument of redemption for Israel, reminding us that no matter how dark the times may seem, God's plan always contains hope, restoration, and salvation for those who trust in him. This powerful narrative continues to inspire and encourage every generation, showing that even in the most difficult circumstances, God's will always prevail.